We're going to compare fractions with different denominators and work out which of these two are smaller. We've got 2/3, so we've got 2 shaded parts out of 3 equal parts. Now if we multiply 3 by 2, we actually get 6, which is the denominator of our other fraction. And that's important because that means we can compare them. So each of our thirds is going to be split into 2 pieces. We've still got the same value, but it looks like we've got 4 shaded parts out of 6 now. And our other fraction is 5 shaded parts out of 6. So we can see that 4/6 is smaller than 5/6. And remember, our original question was 2/3. Well, 4/6 is the same as 2/3, so we also know that 2/3 is smaller than 5/6. Now, which of these is larger? We've got 3/10 and 32/100. So our first fraction has 10 as a denominator. So we've got 10 equal pieces and we're shading 3 of them. Whereas our other fraction has 100 equal pieces and we're shading 32. Now 10 and 100 are related because 10 tens are 100. So if we actually break each of our 10 pieces into 10 pieces, we've got 100 pieces. So we've got 30 hundredths, and we're comparing that to 32 hundredths. Well, 32 hundredths is bigger than 30 hundredths. So that means 32 hundredths is also bigger than 3/10. Remember mixed numbers where we have a whole number and a fraction? How can we work out which of these is smaller? Well, they've both got 2 and a fraction, so the 2's are identical. So we can actually just focus for now on the fractions. So that means we're comparing 3/5 with 5/10. Now 3/5 could look like that, and 5/10 like that. The actual whole piece is the same for each of them. One's divided into 5 equal parts with 3 shaded, and the other 10 with 5 shaded. Now there's a couple of ways you can do this. You might look at it and think, well, 3/5 is a bit more than half, but 5/10 is half, so 3/5 is bigger. But there's also another way, because sometimes it's not clear. Your eyes can play tricks on you. So let's do something a little bit more formal. 5 times 2 gives us 10. So if we break each of those 5 pieces into 2, we make 10 equal parts. The 3/5 is the same as 6/10. We can now compare 6/10 to 5/10. Now because 6/10 is greater than 5/10, that means 3/5 is also greater than 5/10. So which is smaller? Well, 5/10 is smaller, so that means 2 and 5/10 is smaller than 2 and 3/5. Now what if they don't seem to be related, the denominators? We've got 1/2 and 2/3. So 1 shaded part out of 2 equal parts and 2 shaded parts out of 3 equal parts. If you place them underneath each other, you can see that 2 out of the 3 equal parts takes up more space, so it's bigger. But you may not always be able to do that, and you may not always want to draw the shapes. So it's good to have a strategy like this. We're going to multiply the denominator 2 by 3, the other denominator, to get 6. And we're going to split each of those 2 pieces into 3, and that makes 6 pieces altogether. So 1/2, or 1 out of 2 pieces, is the same as 3 out of 6 pieces. Our other fraction is 2/3, so we're going to multiply our denominator 3 by 2, and we also get 6. So we're going to cut each of those 3 pieces into 2 and make 6 pieces. And you can see that 2/3 is equal to 4/6. Now we can see both fractions as sixths, which means we can compare the numerator, or the number on the top. That means we can see which fraction's bigger or smaller. Well, 4/6 is bigger than 3/6. So now that we know that 3/6 is the smaller fraction, so half is smaller than 2/3, or less than 2/3. Now let's use the same approach here. We've got 3/4 and 3/5. And we'd like to think about how that could be related to that. Well, let's use the same approach. 4 times 5 gives us 20. So each of our 4 pieces will be split into 5, and 5 times 4 equals 20. So each of those 5 pieces is going to be split into 4. So let's have a look. And we've got 20 pieces there. So all of a sudden, 3 out of 4 equal pieces is the same as 15 out of 20. And 3 out of 5 equal pieces is the same as 12 out of 20. And now we've got the same denominator, we can compare the numerators. 15 twentieths is greater than 12 twentieths because 15 is greater than 12, which means 3/4 is larger than 3/5.